To all the people out there who work as scarers in haunted houses. What was your best scary action? Worked at a haunted house when I was younger as a youth job. It was a lot of fun. I had to sit in this narrow hallway in a doll costume and sit perfectly still. Then when people passed me I would suddenly move, making it look like I was trying to grab them. And do my best creepy voice saying stuff like come play with me or stay with me. Forever. I got some great reactions. Though some stand out more in my memory. The dude that tried to scooch by the opposed wall while muttering nope. 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 Nope, and when I reached for him, he did this weird jump thing. The kind you see cats doing in videos while yelling F no and a bell looking B. Then there was this group of dude bro looking guys that were 100% sure I was a human sized doll. Spending the whole walk down the hallway saying stuff like that shit isn't that scary. It doesn't even look very lifelike. Weren't they surprised? God, being a scarer was fun. 10/10 would do again. All volunteer haunted house, and one year we have like 10 teen guys show up dressed as a Grim Reaper. Okay. Well. Hectometers. The organizers decide to put them all together in a corridor and make people walk a gauntlet through menacing scythes. This one young woman is really freaked out as she edges through the rooms, senses on high alert, visibly shaking. As a living mannequin, I decide to just say a quiet good evening, which sends her scrambling away from me into the Reaper's corridor. They all converge eagerly, scythes flashing, and she shrieks and drops like her strings got cut. She's passed out cold. All the Grim Reapers are standing over her uncertainly, shocked. Then from one skull comes a wavering, really worried, "Oh. Shh. We killed her." I've been scaring off and on for years. So there are a lot. I worked as a generic scarer where my creepy makeup was having one of my eyes blown out. So I had mountains of goo on my face every night. A guy got freaked out and basically face palmed me right in my fake non-eye. He then looked down at his hand covered in sticky fake blood and gore, gagged, and said oh god. Ran out of the exit. I was a scary clown at a different haunt. Had a very loud horn rigged to power drill. Think of a cartoon Aruga type thing. A few rooms back, we had a first night volunteer who, emo, was kind of an a-hole to do this because you're interfering with the enjoyment of other people going through the house since you're not in your place, are rushing them through where they're going to run into others. But whatever. He has a person in this group freaked out and decides to chase them out of the rest of the house with his chainsaw. They come into my room. I go to hop out with my horn, essentially trapping them between a scary clown and a maniac with a chainsaw. It all happened in a split second. And the end result was that I got full on decked right in the ear. Fight or flight is no joke. They felt really bad about it and apologized a ton. Most people who hit you do. Same scary clown. Less of a fear reaction. More of a WTF. My makeup was bloody and gross and I wore tooth stain. So my teeth looked rotten and disgusting. All this to say that there was nothing SY about me and my makeup. Guy comes through acting macho with his girlfriend. He looks at me, makes an face, and says something along the lines of, "Oh baby, you are so damn SY. Number one rule in haunting, if you can't scare them, entertain them." So I fell right out of creepy mode and blew him a flirty kiss complete with a rotten teeth smile. Girlfriend immediately freaks the F out on me. Starts calling me a B and telling me to leave her boyfriend alone or she'd kick my A. I reiterate that I'm covered in blood, gore, and essentially have faux meth teeth. I'm not exactly sure where the threat was there, but I was glad to be behind the clown cage bars for that one. Simple one. Regular old jump scare. Lady screams. Makes a no face. Then quietly says, "I just peed on myself." Volunteered one night at the haunt set up in the Mansfield Reformatory. As an aside, Scaring people in an actual haunted prison is amazing. 10/10. Would do again. Ended up as a corpse in the morgue. I'd been given some mouth blood earlier on in the night because I wanted to have some oozing down my chin. This stuff was almost black. Very gross looking. I didn't need the full tiny cup I'd been given to complete my look. So for kicks, I took it with me to my room and hid it with my water and stuff. Realized it was getting late and asked for the time. Very likely next group coming through was going to be the last. So I took the blood, tipped it back into my mouth and waited. This was one of those houses where you could touch people if they paid extra. And lo and behold, the last group is just two burly dudes without a care in the world. And they're wearing the "you can touch me" glow necklaces. My friend other person in the room knew what I was doing and just sort of lurked creepily to let me do the thing. I approached, put my arms on the shoulders of one guy to stop them. "What does she want?" friend asked. And that's when I proceeded to let this torrent of black blood gush out of my mouth, all down my face and the front of my hospital gown. Jesus Christ. Golden. The coolest room I ever worked in was very innocent seeming at first. It was the last room in a fairy tale themed house. It looked like the inside of a little storybook cottage. Cutesy music was playing. There was a fake window with a meadow painted outside it. On a wall was a chalkboard and pieces of chalk available. The chalkboard was split down the middle by a line. Said, "Were you scared?" at the top and gave you the option to mark yes or no on one side of the line. That's where I came in. The chalkboard was actually a drop panel, essentially a hidden window that loudly slams open to reveal a cast member on the other side. I was painted up like a horrible, gory Snow White. When I dropped the panel, it also triggered all the lights in the room to go out except for black lights, which revealed hidden evil drawings all over the walls, and an air cannon would blast people from behind, making them feel like something was touching them. It was just the best room because people felt safe. They finally let their guard down when they saw this cheerful space and when they went to put a mark on the chalkboard, often bragging to their friends that wasn't scary. That's when bang. Blackout. Satanic scrawlings everywhere. Air cannon smacking their heads and evil Snow White was cackling in their faces, all in the span of 1 second. They always ran out shrieking bloody murder. Never trust the last room. I actually knew a couple of the actors in a Fright Night event at a farm about an hour away, and when I entered the first of like 12 scares, I tried to comfort my older brother by saying, "It's okay, brother's name," and putting my hands on his shoulders. One of the actors heard me say this, unfortunately for my brother, and followed us for the entire scare, screeching his name at every turn. Even I was shitting myself. He didn't partake in any of the other scares. Needless to say, maybe 5-6 years ago I worked at an amusement park that converts much of the park into multiple haunted houses. I worked in the area that was a haunted butcher shop. I was in a room that was supposed to be where everything got gutted, and the wall had this thick fake gore with a person shaped outline. I wore a suit that had the same fake gore on the front. In the dark light I was practically invisible. One girl was on her phone and totally not paying attention, but her friend saw right through my camouflage and motioned for me to hop in line behind their friend. I followed them for a little ways, and finally this chick looks up from her phone and starts to turn to talk to her friend, not realizing that I was mere inches behind her. She turns and we're close enough that I can see her pupils as they widened. She jumped probably a foot in the air and sprinted through the rest of the maze. Her friends couldn't stop laughing on the way out. Had a dude once come through, jumped a bloody mile in the air when I scared him. He just stopped with this far off look and said, "I just sh myself." I stayed in character till the smell hit me. I broke and asked if he wanted an escort. Dude seemed to snap out of it and said nah. I pinched the rest back and off he marched. That's what we call a pro gamer move. Not a haunted house, but a zombie run. I was the last zombie before you could escape. I'm 4 feet 11. I look pretty weak and I wear glasses, which I had fixed with tape as part of my costume. I was supposed to have been a medic before I became a zombie. Despite how I look, I have a very loud voice. I'm good at screaming and I'm a good runner. My job was to mill about near the end of the course and catch and tag as infected anyone I felt like. I used to approach or look distracted as people crept towards me. Not all zombies attacked, so people weren't sure how to deal with me. Plus there were some who had acquired zombie repellent and were quite confident. Spoiler, zombie repellent doesn't work. I'd wait until they had just passed me before unleashing an unholy scream and sprinting after them. I caught quite a few, but the best reactions were a fully grown man who cried actual tears and asked for his mum, and a girl who pissed herself, then threw her water bottle at me. It was a lot of fun, and all the screaming was quite a good core workout. My abs were agony for days after. I worked for a rather popular haunted house, Harried Cornfield. It's made the Travel Channel shows a few times. So my now husband and I were supposed to be dead cowfolk in a Wild West scene. The way it was set up is the PPL walk in through a big opening in the front. There are 2 buildings on either side where 2 actors should set off the scene. After that, the PPL walk around a stable-like fenced-off enclosure which put them in this narrowish corridor where I and my husband were. I was on a barrel. He was lying under the fence. From there, the area would open up just a little with a blacksmith. The dude was actually a blacksmith. He'd spend the night making kulsh and we'd warm up by the fire while we waited for groups. There was an emergency exit that was part of the scenery. The firing thing, I can't remember what it's called, lol sorry, and then the entrance to the mine shaft. The entire walkthrough was maybe 40 feet. Oh. And it was always really dark. Our main source of light was the fire from the blacksmith and nearby Harried. Other than that, we had a few very dimly lit light bulbs. So one night, we were doing our thing, scaring people and whatnot, when this kid comes booking it through the scene. He's all alone and just terrified. I mentioned the emergency exit BC. If someone ever said I can't do this, I want out, we'd have to exit character, the only time we were allowed to, and escort them out. So this kid is hauling a IDK if he got separated from his group and was trying to find them, or if he said F this and wanted to just hurry out or what, but he gave us about a second to try to scare him as he flashed past us. Well, the ground was uneven and I think a little damp and he slipped and fell and slid a stop against a barrel right by the exit door. My husband and I are like oh sh. We walk over to him and he's lying on the ground, panting hard, staring up at us with sheer terror in his eyes. I'm like, for real? Dude. Not playing. Are you okay? And he quickly nods. Eyes still bugging out and looking between us. I'm like, you sure? Do you need to leave? He takes a second, looks at us again and shakes his head. I look at my husband and then back at this kid and scream, then get up and get the hell out. Get out. That kid jumped up like he had rockets strapped to his back and hauled his A into the mine shaft, leaving me and my husband rolling. Good times.